Okay, it is 11 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time, and we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us for the March entry in our ongoing data exchange webinar series. This month's is titled Shop Floor Accuracy with ODI, which is the Operator Data Interface. I'm going to go ahead and get started right away with our order of events, starting off with what is the ODI, which, as I said already, is the Operator Data Interface. It is a supplemental application only on the silver and gold licensing levels inside of DataXchange. We will also be discussing what kind of data does the ODI display, as well as going over the ODI use, ODI settings, the ODI user interface, and we will end this webinar with some discussions about the other features and recommendations for the operator data interface, as well as a quick demonstration of everything that I cover in this webinar. And then finally, for those of you that are current DataXchange users, we will be having a DataXchange update going out this week. You should be getting notified about that here later on today. And you can also go to our website and find out more about that. I'm going to be going over a kind of high-level bulleted list of what is included in that release. And there's some things with that release that we are going to be asking you as a DataXchange user to reach out to us for some exposure and some early access to for some of the features in that upcoming release. So first off, I would like to go over what is the Operator Data Interface. And the Operator Data Interface is a supplemental data exchange application. ODI is used to view and update machine status, to manually enter data such as downtime reasons that cannot automatically be collected from machines. And some of these things that you can put in the ODI include work orders, the active part number that is currently being worked on, the machine that your operator is at, good and scrap part count tracking, as well as part per hour plans. You can use the operator data interface as a digital and-on of sorts. And with ODI, operators can see machine statuses while working inside cells. You can also trigger events such as sending an email or a text message. You can get alerts for specific shop floor user-defined events with ODI. And ODI also has the ability to integrate with ERP. And there's some more useful features that I'm going to be discussing later on in this webinar as well as it concerns for ODI. So as I mentioned earlier, ODI is only available on the silver and gold data exchange licensing levels. There is an application for ODI for Windows Desktop that is available for free on the Windows Store. You can also get ODI for your smartphones and tablets for free from the Google Play and Apple stores. And if you've been a Scytec DataXchange user for a while, you might remember that there was a ODI inside of the desktop version of DataXchange. However, that has been done away with as of August 2nd, 2023. And if you're a little bit newer to the DataXchange machine monitoring platform, typically and historically, some of the features found in the desktop application for Scytec DataXchange have been moved over into Data Display, which is our online browser-based mobile reporting tool. Sooner rather than later, more of the historical features that were found in the desktop version of DataXchange are going to be found only in Data Display, and eventually we will be sunsetting the desktop version of DataXchange. So some other things about the ODI is that a device running the ODI application does not need internet access to enter the data, allowing the device to be secure on the shop floor. However, network access to the data exchange service is required. All data entered from ODI is sent to a data exchange service, and the data is processed by the data exchange service. Therefore, after the initial installation of the data exchange client, the computers utilizing ODI do not need internet access. So why we offer this is how we support our on-premise customers where no data can be stored up in the cloud or anything like that. So if you are an on-premise customer, you can still use the operator data interface via everything I just discussed here. Next up, I would like to discuss the data that is displayed in the operator data interface. And a variety of types of data can be entered and viewed from the operator data interface, such as equipment status, which includes unplanned downtimes, planned downtimes, and in cycle or cutting. In cycle is typically hidden by permission since cycle data normally comes from the equipment automatically. You can also view work orders with the ODI, and a work order view provides a list of the work orders assigned to the equipment. You can activate, deactivate, or close work orders as well as confirm part counts. And 3 tasks can be performed from the work order page, such as activating a work order, entering data for the current shift for the active work order, and then also entering data for a specific day. Some of the other data items that can be viewed with the ODI include part data, part numbers, good parts, and scrap parts, custom commands. And custom commands are a very useful tool inside of the operator data interface. And custom commands are used to trigger a user configured type of event. So some of the use cases for custom commands include the ability to send an email to maintenance without placing the equipment in a maintenance downtime, as well as also asking for material from maintenance if you're running low on material. And as I mentioned earlier, you can use the operator data interface as a stack light of sorts. So with that, you can control a stack light and trigger integrations with external systems as well with the operator data interface. You can also view some data related to the users for DataXchange, and the active user that is running the equipment can be tracked with the ODI screen. Users can be associated with equipment by either logging into ODI or by using the user page on the ODI screen. Users can also manually and automatically log into the operator data interface. Next up, I will be discussing the ODI user interface and how you can configure that interface and what is displayed on the ODI home screen and the equipment overlay as well. So what we are looking at here is the home screen for the operator data interface or its user interface. And I'm going to start in a somewhat clockwise motion by first showing you the machine information. And everything that I discuss here, I'm going to be showing in a demonstration later on if any of this is confusing. So starting over there on the far left, we have the machine information where you can select different planned and unplanned downtimes, as well as work orders, part numbers, good and scrap part counts, and the custom commands that I just described, as well as the logged in user. The 3 little lines that you see above that are the options where you can do some more configuration for the operator data interface that I'm going to be showing as well in my demonstration. And then the current logged in user, where you can see we have a Tom W. Next to that with the 4 squares, if you click on that, that'll take you to the equipment overlay dashboard view for the operator data interface. And then next to that, we have the selectable machine statuses, including things like alarm, maintenance, and no material for the unplanned downtimes, as well as some others. Next to that, we have the large equipment card. And this is the current machine that you have selected that you are going to be editing the machine status on, or overriding the current machine status. So right now on this large equipment card, we have a laser machine with a current status of being in maintenance, and it has been in that status duration for about 1 minute and 51 seconds. You can also see some other reported data items, including the status start time, the logged in user, the current work order, the current part number, parts per hour plan, good parts, and scrap parts, as well as the part per hour percentage, or some of the other reported metrics that you can see inside of that large equipment card. Underneath that, we have the notes section. You will have to use the notes section, and I'm going to show this later on in our demonstration, for some of these statuses that you put a machine into, such as maintenance. You can't just put a machine into a maintenance status without filling out the notes section to what is actually going on with that machine. And then next to that, on the bottom left there, we can see we have these small equipment cards and their current statuses. So we have 4 different machines on this ODI homepage that you see right now, including a laser, a CNC machine, a saw, and a welder. As I mentioned earlier, the laser is currently in a maintenance, the CNC machine is in a setup, and then the saw machine is in an unknown downtime, and that welder is cutting. One of the uses for the ODI is you can have an ODI tablet out by a machine. It could be a single machine, But how we actually advocate for things at Scytec is to use the ODI for an operator working inside of a cell. So with this image, you can see that a operator is currently working on 4 different machines and getting a high-level view for all of them with this small equipment card section that you see. So when you select the small equipment card from the bottom left, and then select the machine information you would like to edit, ending a current machine status and starting a new one, this is what does that. So when I click on that unplanned downtime that you see highlighted there, I can end a current machine status with that blue box that you see in the bottom right-hand corner of the ODI home screen. You can start a new status by selecting an unplanned planned downtime as well, and then clicking that start status or starting new status button that you see there will do that. And that overrides machine status that is currently being pulled automatically and currently shown. And as I mentioned, you can add notes for more detailed reporting. And with these small equipment cards, I'm going to be just showing you here this later on in this webinar. You can also be alerted to events with a flashing equipment card. So if you see like the laser there or the CNC machine and that small equipment card that starts flashing, that is to notify an operator to go out and attend to a machine after a certain user-defined threshold has been crossed. Like, for example, if a machine has been in an unknown downtime for longer than about a half hour or something like that, or an hour, that machine small equipment card will start flashing, alerting the operator to go out and attend to that machine. So ODI is not meant for all machinery in a plant to be added to its home screen. ODI usage is more meant for operators working with multiple machines inside of a cell or a single machine as well. And there are some machines that are large enough to have multiple ODI tablets. So the machine or the image that you are seeing over there on the left is kind of indicative of the most kind of usual use case for the operator data interface, with one ODI tablet being for multiple machines. And then on the right side, you can see a larger machine. Sometimes they have 2 rooms for cutting. That we do have clients that have multiple ODI tablets by both of those cutting rooms as well. We also have the modified timestamp, and the modified timestamp feature modifies the current and previous time in the operator data interface. And this is used for when scenarios that may arise when the appropriate planned or unplanned downtime was not entered, or a machine status start and stop time needs to be correctly entered. And right underneath that large equipment card, you can see the modified timestamp, where you can go to a current machine status or a previous one, and you can go and backfill that so that you get the most accurate reported information possible. Next up, I'd like to discuss the dashboard feature inside of the operator data interface, which is called the equipment overlay. And you can see the equipment overlay there on the right. And the equipment overlay is a screen where the equipment cards for all the selected equipment are displayed. Selecting an equipment card will hide the overlay and display the main ODI screen with the associated selected equipment. On the ODI configuration page, the equipment overlay can be set to be the default screen when you log into the ODI, and that'll automatically open. And then there is also an option to have the equipment overlay displayed after a set amount of inactivity time. And this is some of the things that you can do inside of the configuration that I'm going to be showing you later on, with those 3 little lines that are at the very top left of the ODI home screen page. So ODI layouts allows for customization of the data shown on the ODI for each piece of equipment. Layouts can be changed to suit the data collected by the individual equipment. So if you're familiar with DataXchange, this kind of works the same way as our real-time equipment view, where you can toggle some things on and off that are necessary for solving your shop floor issues. So with this Tsugami machine, we can see a bunch of different reported metrics in terms of what is currently going on with the machine. So we can see that the current status of the machine shows a normal cycle, meaning that the machine is cutting. We can see the status duration as well as the logged in user, the work order for what is currently getting worked on that machine, as well as the specific part number, the part per hour plans, and the amount of good and scrap part counts as well. So some of the available parameters, some of which I already just discussed, include the status duration, which includes the amount of time the machine has been in a current status, status start time, the time when a status has started, good parts, the number of good parts reported for the current part number on the machine's part numbers, the part number currently active on the machine, scrap parts, the number of scrap parts reported for the current part number on the machine, part per hour plans and percentages, as well as the logged in user and work orders. And, some of these things are kind of, obvious, but these are some of the available parameters that you can have displayed on your large equipment card on the operator data interface. Next up, we will be discussing configuring the equipment card layout, and users can choose a default layout or add a new one. You can configure smaller equipment cards as well inside of the operator data interface, and the silver license level cannot collect part or work order information, so leave those out if you're on the silver licensing level with DataXchange. You can also assign a layout to a specific piece of equipment or users and user groups. So the configuration for the machinery that you will see displayed in the operator data interface, as I said, can be achieved by clicking on those three lines that you see next to support admin on the home screen, or whoever the logged in user is. You can select and sort the necessary equipment that will display on your ODI screen and order and reorder them. Will only be ordered on that physical device that you are currently on, so the tablet that you are currently working on by the machine. The equipment overlay toggle that you can see underneath that long list of available machinery. Once again, this is also some things I'm going to be showing you here in our demonstration. Everything that I cover in this webinar is going to be shown later on, just for reiteration during my demonstration. But there is an equipment overlay toggle underneath all of those available machines that you see on that left-hand column in that screenshot. And this is what, you can turn the equipment overlay on or off with. And if it's enabled, the screen will automatically switch to the equipment overlay view after a certain amount of time. You can also suppress images with a toggle, suppress messages with a toggle in this configuration section coming from DataXchange if you're using ODI as a dashboard only with the equipment overlay view. You can also enable equipment sorting and a refresh rate for how long you have to wait to get new data. We have this set right now at a second long. And next up, we're going to be discussing configuration types, and ODI can be configured in a few different ways by device, either physical device via the application or via the desktop version of DataXchange. Keep in mind the device identifier that I just discussed on the last slide for the configuration page for the application. You can also configure by group based off of employment levels, and then by user, where you can configure ODI for the logged in user across any device which they log in. Finally, I'm going to be discussing the other ODI features and recommendations, and I'm going to be showing you guys how you can add good and scrap part counts, as well as give a scrap part reason. Right now, we are looking at some of the reasons can be non-conforming, gouged, or dented materials. So in the demonstration, I'll show you how you can add good and scrap part counts and how those can just on the fly affect your parts per hour percentage. And notes I brought up earlier, while using the operator data interface screen, it may become necessary to record further details regarding the current state of a machine. To do this, it is possible to capture the details about what is going on using the notes field. And you have the ability for operator notes reports, which you retrieve any of the notes left by an operator. You also have the ability for acquire notes. This is disabled by default in the desktop version, but you may require notes from the operator for certain scenarios. You can also send notes in email, and notes that are entered into the system can also be sent in email. This feature can be used for any of the note options, including machine statuses, scrap parts, and custom commands. Finally, I'd like to discuss the shop floor awareness with ODI. And as I said, with the small equipment cards, you have the ability to make them flash after a certain user-defined event has been crossed. So the color on the equipment card screen can be set to flash in 1 second intervals when a threshold has been crossed to alert. an operator to attend to whatever is going on with a machine. For example, we'll say we have a FANUC 31i has been in an unknown downtime for an hour, and that flashing will then start after that hour mark has crossed at 1 second intervals on the ODI screen, alerting that operator to go out and fix whatever is going on with that machine. Next up, I'd like to discuss the ODI display and mounting options. So we're looking at a 3D image of a DMG Mori machine here with an operator data interface tablet that is mounted to it. You can mount a operator data interface enabled tablet with a little protective box around it that I'm going to show you here in just a second with magnets. We have plenty of clients that do this where they mount their tablet directly to the machine. And if you don't like it that way, we also advocate here at Scytec for a company called VitaBox that makes these tablet floor stands that you can have a ODI tablet that is sitting next to a machine so an operator can, see what is going on with the machines working inside a cell from a high level. Where you see in that image there in the top right, we have a DataXchange ODI tablet that is on one of the floor stands in a VitaBox case as well that is currently on the equipment overlay view. You don't have to use VitaBoxes. There's other competitors that make tablet enclosures and floor stands as well. These are just the ones we really like here at Scytec and kind of advocate for our client base to use. All right, finally, I'm going to go over a demonstration. So I've created a video here that basically goes over everything that I covered in this webinar so far, basically for the point of reiteration so that you can actually see everything that I've talked about working in real time. We'll go ahead and start our video.
Up first, we are going to discuss the user interface for ODI, which consists of the large equipment card, the selectable machine statuses, the column with downtimes, work orders, part counts, and then finally the notes section.
So you'll come up here and click on the 3 lines. You'll go to the configuration option. And over here on the left, we have our available machines. And then when we select those over in the right column, those are what's going to be displayed on the ODI homepage in the small equipment card section. And underneath that, we have the toggles for the equipment overlay, and then having the equipment overlay as the initial screen. We can also toggle the equipment sorting feature on and off with this, and as well as how long you want to wait for the idle time before the ODI switches the equipment overlay dashboard, the ability to suppress message, and as well as the refresh rate here. And this is everything that you can configure inside of the ODI. So we're going to go back out to the equipment overlay. So you click on the 4 squares that you see there next to whoever is logged in. This will take us to our equipment overlay. And you can see all of the selected machinery that we just configured, including a Makino, a Mazak, a DMG Mori, a FANUC machine, as well as an Akuma. And some of the other things that you can see on the equipment overlay, including the reported metrics that I discussed earlier. So here, as I discussed earlier, we're going to be editing the status of a DMG Mori machine, which is currently in an alarm, and it has been in this alarm for about an hour and 10 minutes. We can also see the status start time for this. So I'm going to come over here and click on unplanned downtimes, and I'm going to put this into a maintenance from an alarm. We're going to start a new status. However, we can't do that because we need to have notes entered for the maintenance status. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to fill in that a tool broke. And once I do that, I can end the current status and start a new status for this DMG Mori machine. And you'll see there in the top right that it went from an alarm to now it is currently in a maintenance. So from here, we are going to switch over to another machine. I'm going to click on a Mazak on the small equipment card. That'll switch. As you can see now, we have that Mazak there in the large equipment card section. And I'm going to add a good part to this. So right now we have a 24-hour part per hour plan, and we've only created 10 parts. So we have a 41.7 percentage for our part per hour plan. So I'm going to go over here to the left. I'm going to click on good parts. I'm going to add a single good part to the part per hour calculator that you see there. And I'm going to hit enter. You will see that now we have 11 good parts, and then thusly it has affected the part per hour percentage that you see down there, going from a 41 to a 45%. And then you do the same thing with the scrap part, but you first have to choose a scrap reason. So I'm going to select a non-conforming scrap reason before entering a new scrap part with the same little calculator that you just saw there a second ago. And then thusly, it'll do the same thing and take away from that part per hour percentage after you add that scrap part. So that about covers it for the demonstration side of things for the operator data interface.